guys, it's Sam, and today I'm doing a combination of my March book haul as well as my March wrap up. So I'm doing this because March was kind of a reading month for me. I mean, I ended up reading a lot of pages technically, so it wasn't super bad, but I only ended up reading 3 books. So I figured I have a small wrap up, I have a small book haul, why not combine them? So I'm going to start with the wrap up first. Also, doing a slightly different angle because it's kind of gloomy out, so I wasn't sure if my couch would be a good spot today, but let me know if you like this. I'm kind of thinking about switching between this and my couch for a background, because I know you guys liked the one where you can see my plants as well. So I'm kind of thinking about having 2 filming setups. Fancy. So first we have Incendiary by Zoraida Cordova. This is the first book in a YA fantasy, I think it might be a trilogy, maybe a duology, I don't know. And this is a book I've already done a full review for, so I will link that on the screen. This was my curator pick. So the members of my bibliothecary get to be put into a raffle, and I choose one person out of that raffle, and they get to pick any book off my TBR, and this is what my curator chose. So this is YA fantasy that's supposed to be sort of a magical Spanish Inquisition. So we follow our main character of Renata, and she is a part of the rebel group that's kind of going against this empire that is trying to wipe out their people that are all mostly magic users. They have the ability to be magic users. Not everyone has the magical abilities though. She has an ability where she can take people's memories, and there are other abilities where you can make people see different illusions, or you can kind of call out people's feelings, and her memory stealing ability is kind of seen as one of the most dangerous. So the rebels don't really like her because of that, and also because of her past, because she did used to live in the palace, but she is trying to help them now kind of take down this empire, and she ends up getting involved in a lot of the political machinations and things because her longtime sort of lover, I guess. It's not really clear what they define themselves as, but one of the leaders of the rebels is a guy that she's had history with for quite some time. He ends up getting taken prisoner, getting taken captive, and she tries to go to save him and gets back involved in the politics going on in the capital, and everything kind of goes from there. This is one that I didn't really end up enjoying, and I don't plan on continuing with the series. This had a lot of potential with the whole Spanish Inquisition and the magic and everything, but I didn't feel super connected to Renata, and I feel like she made a lot of decisions that didn't quite make sense narratively. And I also feel like this book started in a place that was sort of like weird for the story. It felt like a second book when it feels like that we were missing a lot of information that would have been really good to have in like a first book. So I feel like it just started at a really weird place, and it also took a while to get going. You know everything that I kind of said to you from the synopsis, and it takes about 100 pages to even get into like that. So it's like, why is this taking so long? And I just felt like some of the pacing was weird, and this didn't grip me enough. There were some like fun twists and political machination type stuff towards the end that is pretty interesting, but not interesting enough to overcome just the overall boredom and disconnect that I felt from the story. So I ended up giving this 2 out of 5 stars. I then read To Love and to Loathe by Martha Waters. This is the second book in a companion Regency romance series. This does have trigger warnings for death of a sibling, and this follows Diana, who is the widowed Lady Templeton, and Jeremy, who is a Marquess and a bit of a rake. And her husband has died, and now she kind of has this freedom to be like a widow, and kind of, she has much more agency in this setting as a widow. And they have a history because he's always been like a little bit interested in her, but she knew that she needed to have like a stable partner for like income and stuff because of her family situation. So they have always had this like kind of antagonistic relationship a little bit. So he's been this rake, she has been more like abide by the rules, but they end up getting in a situation of almost like a fake affair that becomes like a real affair, because he gets told by one of his former mistresses that like he wasn't that good in bed, so now he's feeling like unsure of himself, and then she wants to give this image that she's down for having like affairs with people, so other men will be interested and know that she's like, you know, open to that kind of situation. So they end up having this more like public affair kind of, while also actually engaging in having some fun sexy times. So this was okay, this was solid. This is one of the only other historicals that I've read, so I don't actually know, and I said this in my review on Goodreads, I don't actually know if this was more like satirical tongue-in-cheek or not, because some of the stuff was a little bit like over the top, a little bit like too on the nose, but I'm not sure if that's just how kind of historicals are written. I haven't read enough to know, but that was definitely a thing. There is also a side character who is a lesbian, and that I think was handled like fairly well, not necessarily like a spoiler, although it is part of the plot and things kind of going on. so it wasn't treated like a twist or anything necessarily, but it definitely depicted how that would have been handled, and someone, you know, someone's sexuality in a Regency period would have been handled back then. So I feel like that was done fairly decently. I'm not sure if that character is going to get a book in this companion series in the future, but this was just okay, kind of forgettable. I did pull for them, and some of the miscommunication was a little bit like, I don't know, like they communicated, but then they still like weren't getting along, and I'm like, what? So there was a little bit of like hiccups here and there, but overall, fun little Regency romance, 3 stars. And the last book is the book that I read for Tome Topple, and that is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Remember how when I did my Tome Topple TBR, I had like 4 or 5 books, and I was like, would I have to read all these? No. I've been very slumpy, obviously, as you can tell. It took me a very long time to read Incendiary, and then it took me a while to read this, although that's excusable because it is very large. But anyway, this is an epic standalone adult fantasy that follows 4 main perspectives. We have Tane, who is a aspiring dragon rider, that she lives in the eastern part of this world. We have Ede, who is a spy, actually, for a sort of like magical organization who has been in the royal court of the like main religious monarchy in the West and has been told to protect them. Then we have Niklaus, who's also in the East, and he is a doctor who was banished from the West. So he gets kind of tied into stuff that's happening with Tane like early on. And then we have Loth, who is the really close friend of both Ede and then the Queen, who is Sabrin, and he gets sent away by like the spy master because they think it's a threat to Sabrin potentially being married, and she needs to carry on the family line. This is all like super, a little bit complicated sounding, which at the beginning it kind of is. It's a little bit like throws you into sort of what's going on, but the basic thing is that there are dragons. Obviously, dragon on the cover. And the East worship dragons and work with dragons and are like dragon riders and things. And then the West hates dragons. Also the East kind of hates a certain type of dragon. It's a whole thing. The ultimate big bad is this like fire-breathing hell dragon, who is the nameless one. And the lore is that Sabrin's whole lineage, if there's a queen on the throne, then the nameless one never comes back. And so she needs to have a child, and like that's her only role, and they're protecting that line because she's supposedly descended from like a religious figure who defeated the nameless one in the past. There is no way to really do this like synopsis clearly, but just know that it's like very interweaving and a lot kind of going on, and there's these 4 perspectives that eventually end up intertwining and affecting each other. And that's how we go along in this. There are trigger warnings in here for gore, death of a friend, and miscarriage. This is a book that I do plan on doing a full review for, so look forward to that so I have more in-depth thoughts about this. But this was very enjoyable. This made me want to read more Samantha Shannon. But I will say that I know as much as we all love standalone and having like one completed story, this could have been a duology, possibly even a trilogy. This book does read almost as multiple different books, so I feel like it really could have been easily split up. And so some of my enjoyment was sort of lost by the fact that there were some things that I know if it was more books would have been fleshed out slightly more, and some things that like, there was one particular paragraph later on in the story, so I won't go into what it was about, that I read the paragraph and I'm like, that could have been multiple chapters if we had more books, right? So there are a lot of things that were sort of just like breezed over, a lot of things that got wrapped up sort of fairly quickly in the grand scheme of things, but ultimately, I really enjoyed this world. I really enjoyed the characters. Everyone is interesting. There are characters that you're following that you pull for and those that you don't. I would say our main character is probably Ede, but you do follow all of them a fair amount, and it is a story that like I do wish we had more time with it. Like I do wish that we would have seen more. This also has a prominent female romance featuring that guard trope, but it is very slow burn. So I have heard about how like this is a sapphic book, and like yes, but you don't get a lot of that romance in here. A little bit more towards the end, but you don't go into it expecting it's going to be like sapphic romance everywhere, because that's really not the main point. It's definitely like a very minor sort of like subplot that gets thrown in more later. So I did enjoy their dynamic, I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the world. I do just wish we had slightly more time and could have kind of dived into some of these other things and been in this world just kind of like longer. When you have more books, you have more time where you're thinking about these books and the next book and all that stuff, and I feel like this book could have really benefited from that. So this, I would say, is about 4 to 4.25 stars. I originally said 4.5, but that feels too close to a favorite, and I don't know if this is quite a favorite. I have to give it some time. Because of me feeling slumpy, I feel like I'm not connecting to things, where if I wasn't slumpy, I'd be more connected. So still very, very good, still highly recommend, just wish that we had more time with it. Now I have to find a place on my shelf for that book. So as I said I would do, I'm gonna start unhauling books sort of as I read them. So this month I am unhauling Incendiary by Zoraida Cordova. So now getting on to the haul part of this video. First I was sent a book that I have already read from a subscriber. They had seen my video, I think, unhauling books, where I said that there was a couple of romance books that I wanted in physical copy, and I've so far had everyone reach out to me like that have those books, and so now I've gotten all those books that I mentioned on physical copy, which is wild and not expected at all. But they sent me The Bromance Book Club by Lisa K. Adams, which is one of my favorite contemporary romances that I do plan on rereading, so this is going on my shelf. And they also sent me along with it The Steel Prince, which is the first issue of the like Shades of Magic covering, who is it? I think it's Reese's dad, which I haven't read, didn't know they were sending, just kind of as like a little treat, so I'm gonna see how I like this. The art and stuff looks really cool, so I think this has potential for me. And lastly, we have this one's Owl Crate box. So as you guys know, I am an Owl Crate affiliate. So I do have a coupon code down below where you can get some money off on a box. That doesn't give me any kind of financial compensation. That's just for you guys. They just send me these boxes to unbox every month and show off to you. And I slightly remember liking the theme for this month, so let's see if that's true. Oh, this is cute. This is the Of Witches and Wonder Witches, yes. So first we have this little very cottagecore looking box. It says Reading Through the Seasons. And this says, to celebrate the unique beauty found in each of the 4 seasons, we've created a limited edition collection of drinkware designed by artist Macarena Chomik. Our tribute to springtime and its lovely blooms is this stunning tumbler featuring a quote from Sylvia Plath. This is pretty. This says, cheers for spring, for life, for a growing soul. That is super, 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 super pretty. That makes me want to drink like a warm beverage in this. I'm so happy because usually we get mugs, and I have a ton of mugs that I never use because I never drink hot drinks. But this I feel like I can make work. You can also put like wine and stuff in it. Ooh, what's this? I feel like it's a smelly thing. Is it a smelly thing? Ooh. This says Emmanuel, Owl Crate exclusive from Fiction Bath Co. Is it oil? Blackberry, sage, and cypress, which I could definitely smell and smells good. It's a roll-on perfume inspired by the forbidden dark wood and the year of the witching. Okay, I want to open you, but you are taped closed. I can kind of smell it. Yeah. I will definitely use this. Like I said, blackberry, sage, and cypress. It smells like a forest. You know what I always want to smell like? A forest. It's a bookmark holder. This says magic is desire made real. That's to keep bookmarks safe, like when you're traveling, it sounds like. And that is a quote from Discovery of Witches. And we have this, it's a little tea bag rest. It says there's a little witch in all of us. This is cute. This is super cute. Yes, so it's a little star. There's a little witch in all of us. This might not be a tea bag rest. This might be a little ring holder. That is cute. Then we have this notebook that says The Magician, which makes me almost think it's like tarot card inspired, like the Magician tarot card. Well, it's actually a sketchbook. Perfect. I have an idea for this. Sigil book. But this is inspired by the tarot card. So look how pretty that is. Oh my god. And this month's book is Sweet and Bitter Magic by Adrienne Tooley. And this is a cover that I think I have seen around. This is an Owl Crate exclusive signed edition. It does have purple pages and it comes with a letter from the author. So this sounds just witchy all around. This is 2 main characters. One is a really powerful witch who is cursed by her coven to not be able to love because of something she did, so she has to like steal love from other people. And then our other character is almost like a person made of magic but can't use magic herself, and there ends up being this like dark plague started by like another witch, and they team up to try to like take that down, and it's gonna be sapphic. So I am very, very interested in this because I love the witch stuff and this sounds great. So we have this month's pin, which says magic has consequences and is like a little cauldron. Nice. And this month's little like newsletter shows the differences between the 2 covers and interviews with the author and with like other people involved in the box and everything. They're doing a little reading challenge this month, so it has different challenges based on letters of Owl Crate, and then you can like fill out on the back what book you read for that challenge. And then next month's theme is Ruthless Rivals for the April box, and it says every box will include an exclusive bag of coffees from Fable Grounds and Coffee. So very pretty. Ruthless Rivals, I don't know. Ooh. Is that Witches Steeped in Gold coming out? They wouldn't do another witch book though for April. I don't know when that book's coming out. Anyway, I'm very excited regardless of what they're going to give us for April's box. So that is it for my book haul and wrap up for March. Comment down below. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you've thought of them. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye.